3 months after giving birth to my daughter, I stumbled upon my husband's secret social media account late one night. He vented online, "Marriage is damn worthless. Ever since she got pregnant, I've found her utterly disgusting. Everything about her makes me sick. Her body is gross, fat, smelly, saggy. I have to fight the urge to gag every time. I'd rather jerk off than be with her. Finally, the baby's here. My daughter's beautiful, though she's disgusting with all that gross discharge. Younger women smell so much better. Now when my wife touches me, it makes me sick." Someone commented, "Aren't you afraid your wife will find out and divorce you?" He replied, "She's fat and ugly now, who else would want her besides me?" The next day, after taking my daughter back to him, I slid the divorce papers across the table. He looked up at me disdainfully. "Rose, do you really think anyone would want you after you leave me? Fine, we can get divorced, but the daughter stays with me, and you leave with nothing." I stared at the man I'd loved for 10 years and realized how foolish I'd been. Some people aren't just suddenly terrible, they've been rotten all along. I just never realized it before. My daughter is 3 months old now, and her face is starting to fill out. My mom always says she looks just like I did as a child. She is a good baby, and I only have to nurse her once at night. But Nicholas keeps complaining that her crying terribly disturbs his sleep. I was in the master bedroom at night when my mother-in-law brought our daughter in to nurse. He said he didn't want to disturb my bonding time with her and volunteered to sleep in the guest room. After I finished nursing, my mother-in-law carefully carried the baby away and urged me to get some sleep. Watching my mother-in-law walk away, I was suddenly overwhelmed with happiness. Nicholas was understanding, loved our daughter dearly, and my mother-in-law took excellent care of both of us, treasuring her granddaughter. For a moment, I couldn't fall asleep. I picked up my phone and browsed social media. Suddenly, I came across a post from someone less than 100 meters away. Their profile picture was blank and posted something utterly nauseating. "After sleeping with my secretary, I find my wife even more disgusting. She's old and ugly since giving birth." I frowned. As a new mother myself, I knew how deeply such words would hurt that mother. I clicked on the profile and found the entire account was nothing but him ranting about his wife. "The fat pig still wants to sleep with me. It makes me sick every time she calls me her husband. God, that was disgusting. She cried right in front of me today, tears streaming down that fat face of hers. Couldn't stand the sight. Marriage is bullshit. I'm dying to get divorced. If I didn't care about my daughter growing up in a single-parent family, I would have left her already. I'd rather jerk off than touch her. She's all loose and worn out down there." In the comments, most women were calling him a jerk and telling him to let his wife go. Some men agreed with him, while others called him out for his behavior. One comment asked, "Aren't you afraid your wife will see this and divorce you?" He replied, "Looking like that, who'd even want her after divorce? It's not that I can't live without her, she can't live without me." As both a mother and a woman, reading these comments made me furious. Seeing how close he was to me, I decided to look into whether I knew him. I kept scrolling down until I came across a photo dated August 27th. The picture showed a man's hand holding a small hand, captioned, "My daughter is beautiful." The next post said, "How can women produce so much disgusting fluid? I'm about to vomit." My hand froze, trembling uncontrollably. Because I saw the man's hand and it was identical to Nicholas's. I'd been with him for 10 years. I'd recognize that hand anywhere. I took a deep breath, trying to hold back my tears. Then I read every single one of his posts. Tragically, each one demeaned and disdained me. He even recorded the date of his affair. The first time he slept with his secretary was on our daughter's 1-month birthday, when he texted me that he'd be home late. His secretary prevented him from sleeping in the same bed with me. That same night, he suggested separate bedrooms, claiming he didn't want to interfere with my mother-daughter time. I calmly took screenshots of all his social media posts and sent them to my best friend who's a lawyer, saying, "Help me draw up divorce papers." She immediately texted back a question mark. I sent her a screenshot. She didn't respond for over 10 minutes, then texted back, "Okay, girl, I'll make sure he gets nothing." My best friend and I pulled an all-nighters, and by 7 in the morning, she was already at my doorstep handing me the divorce agreement she'd drafted overnight. My mother-in-law happened to be coming out with my daughter just then. Wanting to give the elderly woman some time to process things, I asked my friend to take them both to my place. I then called my parents. My mother-in-law looked at me as though she wanted to speak but held back, then left with my daughter. I went back to the bathroom and stared at my reflection, now 40 pounds heavier. I used to take pride in my appearance, but now my face has gotten fuller and my waist is ringed with rolls of fat. Do I regret it? My daughter's face came to mind. Not at all. I gained weight because I chose to have my daughter, and I don't believe I was doing it for him. My daughter is as much mine as his. I can always lose the weight, but Nicholas, he never should have betrayed his wedding vows. I admit I was blind to fall for a jerk, so I'll cut my losses promptly and end this marriage. I splashed ice-cold water on my face to snap me out of it. At 8 a.m., Nicholas woke up and headed to the living room as usual, expecting to see our daughter, but found only me there. I caught the flash of disdain in his eyes, so obvious, though I hadn't noticed it until now. "Where are your mom and our daughter?" I didn't answer him. Instead, I looked him straight in the eye and said, "Nicholas, have you betrayed me?" Impatience flashed across his face as he snapped, "Since when did you become so paranoid? Have I not treated you well?" I didn't respond. He realized his tone was off and quickly tried to comfort me. "Don't overthink it, honey. I just woke up grumpy. Did Mom take our daughter to get breakfast? I'll go freshen up." "Nicholas," I called as he turned around. He looked back at me and said, "What is it?" "I want a divorce," I said calmly. 5 hours had passed between discovering his resentment and demanding a divorce. During that time, I wondered if I should just endure it, pretend I hadn't seen anything, lose weight and dress myself up nicely. Then eventually he might come back to me. But my brain kept telling me it was impossible. Once there's a first affair, there will be countless more. I'm still me before giving birth, after giving birth, and when I become slimmer that will still be me. Nicholas despises me for who I am, not who I was at any point. I have no reason to tolerate it. Nicholas scowled. "What now? Didn't I tell you to stop watching those videos that teach wives to pick fights?" I didn't say a word. Instead, I pulled up his social media profile and held it before his eyes. A flicker of panic crossed his face, followed by resignation. He sank onto the sofa with a sigh. "Come on, Rose. What man doesn't cheat? And look at yourself now. I promise not to divorce you, and I'll always be good to our daughter as long as you slim down and end this affair with her." He said condescendingly, as if doing me a favor, "Is that good enough for you?" I suddenly felt so grateful for my decision to divorce him. Thank goodness I hadn't let a man like this make me belittle myself. With icy eyes, I stared him down and said deliberately, "Nicholas, I won't say this again. We're getting divorced." Nicholas sneered, leaning back on the sofa. "Rose, do you even see what you look like? Now that we're divorced, do you really think you can find another man like me? Admittedly, I cheated, but so what? I'll still come back to the family eventually. I don't get why you're making such a fuss." Looking at the man I'd loved for 10 years, it felt like all those memories were just a pile of shit, constantly turning my stomach. I suddenly ran to the bathroom and vomited, utterly disgusted. How could I have lived with such a man for so many years? When I had pulled myself together and stepped out, Nicholas was already changed and ready to leave. Seeing me emerge, he made straight for the door. "If you refuse to sign, Nicholas, I'll see you in court." "Fine," he snapped, turning to face me. "You want the divorce? Emma stays with mine. You get nothing." He opened the door with a mocking smirk. "Fine, we'll drag this out indefinitely. Since I can block the divorce, it won't happen unless I agree." The door slammed shut, and he was gone. At that moment, I felt utterly calm. I refused to be controlled by anyone. If Nicholas wouldn't divorce me with dignity, we'd simply drop all pretenses. 10 years felt like a joke. We couldn't even part amicably in the end. I will get what's rightfully mine, my daughter and my property. I opened Nicholas' social media profile and found he'd purged much of the content, but I still stumbled upon his new secretary's account. A girl in love gets blinded. This girl's social media captured every little moment between them. She even wrote that she wanted to be with him for life. Half an hour ago, while reading her posts, I might have remembered my past with Nicholas and felt sad. But now, all I felt was relief that this evidence could be used to bring him down. After pulling myself together, I drove home. My divorce from Nicholas wasn't just between him and me but also involved both of our families. Both sets of parents had a right to know why we were divorcing. As soon as I reached the door, I heard the elders laughing while playing with the baby inside. I entered and asked my best friend to take Emma to the bedroom. The three parents immediately became tense when they saw how serious I looked. "What's wrong, Rose?" After I explained everything, my mother cried her heart out while my father, furious, said he was going to beat Nicholas up. Only Madame Chen, Nicholas's mother, scrolled through the screenshots with trembling fingers. I grabbed my dad's arm. "Dad, it's already happened. I want to divorce Nicholas, but he's insisting I leave with nothing and give up custody of Emma." "Bullshit." Before my father could speak, Madame Chen slammed the table and stood up. She came over, took my hands and said, "Rose, I'm sorry. I thought he was different from his father, but they are the same deep down. Don't worry, I won't let you suffer what I endured. I'll handle Nicholas. Just focus on caring for Emma here with your parents." Then she turned to leave without another word. Yes, Nicholas' father had cheated too. The mistress's child was only 2 months younger than Nicholas, and his father used Nicholas as leverage to force Nicholas's mother to walk away with nothing in the divorce. Madame Chen acted swiftly. By 4 that afternoon, she had discarded all of Nicholas's possessions. She even changed the locks and had me add my fingerprints first thing. "Rose, don't worry. This house is in my name. Once you and Nicholas are divorced, I'll transfer the property to you," the old lady said without looking up from her vegetables. Watching her, I knew she was deeply saddened. She must have found it terribly hard to accept what her son had become. At 9 that night, Nicholas came home and was about to unlock the door but found the passcode changed. For a moment he thought he'd gone to the wrong place, until he checked the house number and confirmed it was his home. He tried several more times, but the password remained incorrect. Frustrated, he called me while I was discussing with a friend how to ensure Nicholas would leave with nothing. Seeing his call, I resolutely hung up, prompting Nicholas to bombard me with text messages. "Nicholas, Rose, who said you could change the locks? This is my house, my mom's place. What gives you the right? Don't push me. Open the door right now. Rose, stop pretending you don't see this. Why are you making it so ugly? I never knew you were like this. I must have been blind to end up with someone like you." Then came a series of nasty insults, largely targeting my current weight and appearance. Past caring, I simply took screenshots and sent them to Madame Chen. Soon Nicholas fell silent. But then the police arrived at the door. "Ms. Rose, Mr. Chen has reported you for trespassing on his property. Please come to the door." When I got the call from the police, I was stunned for a moment before immediately heading outside. Madame Chen also came out holding Emma, opened the door, and stood face to face with the police and Nicholas. Before anyone could speak, Nicholas pointed at me and yelled, "Officer, I suspect she tricked my mother into changing the locks. She's a con artist. I bet she even deceived me into marrying her just to steal my family's property, and now that we have a child, she's..." Before he could finish, Madame Chen slapped him hard across the face, sending him stumbling sideways. The police and Nicholas were both startled. An officer shouted, "What are you doing? You can't hit someone right in front of the police. I'm his mother. I'll slap him if I damn well please." Madame Chen was panting with fury, and I rushed over to hold my daughter who had just woken up. Madame Chen continued, "This is my house. I changed the locks. I can allow whoever I want to live in it." Nicholas held his stinging cheek, glaring at me. Rose. I never knew you were capable of this, he spat. What did you tell my mother? You've got some nerve blaming Rose. After all the disgraceful things you've done, how dare you come back here? Madam Chin yelled at him, I disown you. Everything I have will go to Rose and Emma. Hearing this, the officers grasped the situation. After brief mediation where they advised resolving the family matter privately, they departed. Nicholas, this house is under my name. You won't set foot here until you've divorced Rose amicably. Even then, you'll only have 3 months to move out. After that, the house goes to Rose and my granddaughter. Nicholas paused briefly before fishing a paper out of his briefcase and handing it to Madam Chin. Mom, Rose gave birth to a girl, my secretary is pregnant with a boy, and your house should go to your grandson. Chan's mom ripped the paper to shreds, her face filled with utter disappointment. Nicholas glared at Madam Chin, his face darkening. No wonder Dad left you. Aunt Fong is so much better than you. He picked up the things Madam Chin had thrown out and turned to me. Rose, don't think you've won just because my mom is on your side. I won't let you have your way, you'll be sorry. I looked at him expressionlessly and said, Nicholas, my biggest regret in life was meeting you and being with you. After gathering his belongings, Nicholas stormed out. Emma was quiet, her big eyes darting around as Madam Chin stood motionless, engulfed in sorrow. I wanted to comfort her. But before I could, she turned to me without showing any sadness and said reassuringly, Rose, don't worry. When it goes to court, I'll testify on your behalf. In that instant, all the words of comfort died on my lips. I see Madam Chin doesn't need my comfort at all. She'd built up her resilience long ago. The moment she decided to stand by me, she was mentally prepared for such confrontations. The next day, I received a call from Nicholas' stepmother. Hello? I answered. An unfamiliar female voice said, Hello, is this Rose? I'm Nicholas' stepmom. Are you free to meet and talk? I'd never met this woman, but Nicholas had talked about her when we were dating in college. Back then, he was fuming as he told me how she'd stolen his father and made such a scene at Madam Chen's office that she was forced to resign. Even though Nicholas no longer mentioned her and Madam Chen never brought her up, my intense disgust for homewreckers made it impossible for me to have a civil conversation with her. So you're his stepmom, not mine. I've got time, but I'm not meeting you. Whatever it is, spit it out over the phone. She was probably caught off guard by my abrupt refusal and paused briefly. If not, I'm hanging up. Don't waste my time, I snapped. Wait. Wait, she was yelling. I didn't hang up immediately, since I wanted to find out what they were up to. Well, as a practicing attorney specializing in divorce cases, I've handled hundreds, if not thousands of cases, and I've never failed to deliver my clients' desired outcomes. Oh, you're so amazing, why don't you just ascend to heaven? I retorted. She chuckled softly and continued, I'm now taking over your divorce case with Nicholas. If you agree to negotiate, you can keep custody of your daughter, but you must leave with nothing and renounce all claims to Nicholas' mother's property. Otherwise. I laughed coldly, no wonder they say like father, like son. How? Came up with the same method? Expect me to leave with nothing? I won't agree. Since you're so capable, go help him. At that, I hung up and even blocked her number. God, how I hate those fucking pretentious assholes. My girlfriends helped me organize all the documents and submitted them directly to the court. Nicholas hasn't contacted me since then, no doubt too busy doting on his mistress and their precious heir. Just as I was hoping to calmly wait for the court hearing notice, I got another call from both the police and the hospital. My father got into a fight with Nicholas, and my mother was pushed to the ground by his mistress during the altercation and hospitalized. Upon hearing the news, Chan's mom instructed me to go straight to the police station while she would handle the hospital visit. We headed our separate ways. Upon arriving at the police station, I saw my father standing aside, holding his arm. Nicholas' face was covered in slap marks, his body covered in footprints. My father boxed when young and kept it as a lifelong hobby, giving him a clear advantage over the sedentary Nicholas. Seeing me arrive, the officer stood up and briefed me on the situation. After hearing what happened, the officer told us it was a family dispute and we should sort it out ourselves. Though Nicholas clearly resented it, he didn't protest when faced with my father's ferocious glare. My father and I walked out. Nicholas looked at me as if to speak, but we walked right past him without a glance, got straight into the car, and drove off. It wasn't until we were in the car that I learned what had actually happened after asking my dad. Nicholas' mistress had somehow found out where my parents lived and, without showing any visible baby bump, showed up downstairs in their residential complex, stopping people to tell everyone. Do you know where Rose lives? I'm pregnant with her husband's child, but she won't divorce him and is draining their accounts. I need to ask, what am I supposed to do if they take everything from the baby and me? My parents lived in a close-knit neighborhood where everyone knew each other. Even though most recognized the mistress and Nicholas were at fault, many still gathered around, gawking at the spectacle. Indeed, quite a few people called my mom, and while my parents were still at the supermarket, they dropped everything and headed straight home. The moment they arrived, they found the mistress going around telling her story to anyone she could grab. My mom marched up to her, pointed at her nose, and screamed, "You shameless homewrecker! How dare you show your face here, you shameless bitch!" The mistress thrust out her belly at my parents' flushed faces. What? Want to hit me? Go ahead, I'm pregnant, after all. See if you dare. My parents, both professors, had never encountered such shameless individuals, but their ingrained sense of propriety kept them restrained. But then Nicholas appeared. My father, who'd long wanted to hit him, lost it. Seeing Nicholas shielding his mistress infuriated him. He lunged forward, grabbed Nicholas by the hair, and started pummeling him. My mother was kicking him too when the mistress shoved her, making her lose her balance and fall heavily to the ground. My dad was still cursing at that despicable pair from the passenger seat, while my expression was icy. My parents, lifelong university professors who had nurtured countless students, saw their dignity shattered when Nicholas and his mistress publicly humiliated them at their doorstep. I had assumed this was just a personal matter between Nicholas and me. But now they've dragged my parents into this. I'll make sure they pay. Since they had the nerve to show up at my parents' doorstep and cause a scene, I'll make certain they lose face for good. My boss is a very successful woman who never exploits us and pays us significantly more than other companies. She's also always looking out for us. Coincidentally, our company had a partnership with Nicholas's company, so I called her. After I filled her in, she remained silent for a moment before asking, "How are you holding up?" From the moment I discovered Nicholas's affair through everything that followed, I hadn't cried a single tear. But hearing her ask that, my tears started flowing like a faucet turned on. She heard my sobs and immediately reassured me, "Don't worry, I'll take care of it." 2 days later, when Nicholas called again, I hung up immediately. I was already en route to the mistress's parents' town. When Nicholas couldn't reach me, he started blowing up his mom's phone. Madam Chen picked up the phone and heard Nicholas shouting, "Mom! Do you know what Rose did? Were you in on this?" Chan's mom said calmly, "Didn't you start the trouble at Rose's parents' neighborhood? Feeling embarrassed now? Do you know what she did? Her boss told the whole company that I had an affair with my secretary. Sophie is pregnant with your grandson, and now people are gossiping about her." Chan's mom smirked. "Oh, so cheating and being the other woman are shameful now? Where were you earlier? Get Rose on the phone. I don't want to talk with you." "What do you want to say?" I asked, keeping my eyes on the road. "Rose, come to our company right now and apologize to Sophie. Explain to everyone here that we're already divorced. Nicholas, where were you when I wanted a divorce? You refused to split assets and threatened me first. Your mistress came after my parents. You want me to fix this? Not in this lifetime." Nicholas was speechless with rage. I pressed on, "If I remember correctly, your mistress's family lives in a small town. Her parents are decent people. Just imagine what will happen when they discover their daughter is a homewrecker in the city." "Rose, you've gone too far." Madam Chen cut him off. Rose, focus on driving. At the entrance to the mistress's neighborhood, the people we'd hired were already there. After coordinating with us, the elderly volunteers unfurled a bright pink banner proclaiming, "Sophia Lee is madly in love with my husband. As the lawful wife, I'm here to take her as my concubine." A large screen nearby displayed their chat logs on loop. Within minutes, a large crowd gathered at the entrance. A modestly dressed middle-aged couple rushed over. Their faces turned pale at the sight. Nicholas's mother became agitated, pointed at me and shouted, "What are you doing? My daughter is not a mistress." Misty's father, however, frowned at the scrolling chat logs on the screen. He stepped forward and pulled Madam Chen back as she lunged to hit me. He bowed to me with Nicholas's mother and said, "I'm sorry for failing to raise my daughter properly. I'll handle this, but please stop displaying this in front of our neighbors." The sight of his humble demeanor softened me for a second, only to be confronted with the hospital bed image of my mother. I stood up and showed them a picture of my mom, meeting their eyes. "This is my mother. Your daughter pushed her down, and she is still in the hospital. I'm still in the divorce cooling-off period with Nicholas, and your daughter rushed to humiliate herself in front of my family. If you have anyone to blame, it's your daughter and yourselves for not raising her properly, letting her choose to be a mistress. You'd better keep your daughter in line. If there's a next time, there will be consequences." Nicholas's mother was so furious that she nearly fainted. Seeing the neighbors pointing and gossiping, Lee's father's pale face, and Nicholas's mother barely standing, I turned and led my group away. We hadn't even left town when Sophia called. Eager to hear her voice trembling with rage, I answered. "Rose. You bitch. Who said you could barge into my home? I swear you'll pay for this. I won't let you get away with this," I shouted, cutting her off. "Sophia, you'd better stay out of trouble until Nicholas and I are divorced. If I find out you've harassed my family again, I'll make sure you regret it." As I pulled up to the gate of my neighborhood, I saw Nicholas standing there. Spotting my car, he hurried over. I wasn't going to stop, but he stepped right in front of the car. "Rose, talk to me." I looked at him in silence as he continued. "I'll sign the divorce papers. I'll leave with nothing. You'll have custody of Emma. Is that enough? Please stop going to Sophie's. She's pregnant, and stress could risk a miscarriage. After all we've shared these 10 years, please do this for me. I'll cover all of your mother's medical expenses. Sophie and I will come apologize to you. The marital infidelity was entirely my fault. I deserve to forfeit all assets. For Emma's child support, I'll consistently pay on time." The car's headlights fell on Nicholas, and in that fleeting moment, I saw the boy who'd promised to always protect me. Does time really change a person completely? No. Time doesn't change a person. It gradually reveals who they truly are by stripping away the layers. My aim was to secure full custody of Emma and ensure Nicholas left empty-handed. With that achieved, I had no intention of dragging this out any longer. After the cooling-off period, we got divorced. 1. Removed redundant mandatory since cooling-off period inherently implies legal requirement in divorce contexts. 3. Changed Nicholas and I to subject first we for narrative flow. 5. Deleted unnecessary adverb officially as the action's finality is contextually clear. As I was leaving the registry office, he stopped me. I turned to look at him and shook my head. "The person you owe an apology to isn't me, it's who you were 10 years ago when you made those promises. Leaving you will only make my life better, and you will pay the price for your mistakes. Make sure child support is paid on time." With that, I turned and left without looking back. I had to get home. Emma is now 4 months old and very attached to me. It has been 2 hours since she last saw me, and I'm sure she misses me. When I got home, my dad was playing with Emma, while my mom and Madam Chen were busy in the kitchen. Yes, Madam Chen chose to move in with me. On the day Nicholas and I signed the divorce papers, Madam Chen stood to the side, looking like a lost child. Several times she seemed about to speak but stopped herself. After we signed the papers, Nicholas stood to leave and noticed her nearby. He sneered sarcastically, "So, now that we're divorced, I'll be living with my dad, and you'll be left all alone. If you apologize to me now, I'm still willing to take care of you." Ever since Madame Chen discovered Nicholas had cheated, she had quietly supported me. From the very beginning, I had decided that even after divorcing him, I would take her with me. I stood in front of Madame Chen and faced Nicholas. "Don't concern yourself with her, I'll take care of her from now on." Taking care of someone else's mother? What a saint you are. This is none of your business. "Please leave my house now," I said, ignoring his words and firmly telling him to leave. Nicholas left without delay. I took Mrs. Chen's hand and said earnestly, "Mom, don't worry. I meant what I said. You're Emma's grandmother and my mother too." She hesitated. "Rose, will I be in the way?" "Of course not," I quickly reassured her. "My parents haven't retired yet, and my maternity leave is ending soon. Emma will need you to look after her. I wouldn't trust anyone else with her." Hearing she would be caring for Emma, her expression softened and she grasped my hand. "Rose, thank you." "Mom, I should be the one thanking you. Thank you for always being there for me." When Emma was 5 months old, I returned to the workforce. With both grandmothers helping care for Emma that month, I began my weight loss journey. With 4 hours of daily exercise and my dad preparing low-calorie meals for me, I lost 20 pounds in a month. Although I hadn't gotten back to my pre-pregnancy weight yet, I was visibly thinner. On my first day back, my boss threw a welcome back party for me. Everyone seemed to know what I'd been through, but nobody brought it up. Every colleague who saw me said, "Welcome back, Rose." Perhaps when I settled into my work routine, my sleep became more regular. I began losing weight at an accelerated pace, and before long, I had fully regained my original figure. Emma thrived under the loving care of her 3 grandparents. 3 months flew by. With home life running smoothly, I began to thrive at work and before long was promoted to general manager. The next time I heard about Nicholas was during business negotiations with his former company, where I overheard colleagues sharing gossip about him. The company did not fire Nicholas outright due to the incident's significant impact on their reputation. Instead, he was demoted. However, Nicholas resigned directly, stating that he needed to return home to inherit the family business. Chan's father owned a small factory. While not as large as a major corporation, it was fairly profitable, so Nicholas announced he would return home to take over the family business. Nicholas and Sophia were living well when they were unexpectedly involved in a car accident. Nicholas was rendered infertile and Sophia miscarried. Since her pregnancy was advanced, she suffered a difficult labor upon arrival at the hospital. Sophia's life was saved, but the baby suffocated during childbirth, and her uterus was so severely damaged that she could never have children again. In a dramatic twist, Nicholas' 51-year-old stepmother became pregnant. After years of unsuccessful attempts to conceive, Nicholas' father and his wife finally conceived late in life. He decided to bequeath his entire estate to their unborn son. Nicholas' stepmother revealed her true, mean-spirited nature. I heard the house was in complete chaos. Old Chen decided that having Nicholas and Sophia around who had just become infertile would negatively impact his wife and child, so he kicked them out. As I listened to the gossip, I felt dazed. This person who had once been by my side had ended up this way. Listening to everything he'd been through felt like hearing about a stranger's life. I never thought I'd see Nicholas again. On Emma's birthday, he showed up at my door. I just wanted to see the baby," Nicholas said, standing awkwardly at the door. He looked disheveled, his eyes bloodshot, but when he saw me, they still lit up a little. Even though he looked pitiful, I still refused to let him see Emma and only showed him a few photos of her. He looked at the video of Emma on my phone and said softly, "She is so beautiful just like you." I didn't respond. Instead, I said, "All right, my parents are waiting for me for dinner. I've got to go." Nicholas looked at me with indecipherable emotion in his eyes and said, "Rose, do you think we would have been happy if I hadn't made that mistake back then?" I sighed in exasperation. "Nicholas, you know there are no what-ifs. When I got home, Emma came tottering toward me as she was learning to walk. I scooped her up and gave her a big kiss on the cheek. Just after we blew out the candles for Emma's birthday, Madam Chen received a call from the police. Nicholas murdered his father and stepmother, and police found Sophia's body inside his apartment that had been dead for days. I broke out in a cold sweat, not daring to think what would have happened if I had agreed today. The police finally arrested Nicholas near my home, and he was reportedly holding a knife when apprehended. When Nicholas was sentenced to death, he requested to see me one last time. Despite the police urging me to meet him, I refused. I knew full well Nicholas had meant to take us down with him. I wouldn't risk seeing him again, not with my daughter just 1 year old and that kind of danger hanging over her. Nicholas died, and Madam Chen mourned for several days. Finally, her eyes swollen, she told me, "This is the last time I'll cry for him." He went so far as to mail me a letter from prison. I tore it up the moment I saw who sent it, without reading what it said. I didn't want to see its contents, whether it was an apology or resentment. Just as I always said, I'd be better off without him. I don't think about him anymore and want nothing to do with even news of him. After all, I have no regrets. I'm happy now and will be in the future too.